Wow. Here we are. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. Psalm 50 is a very, very precise psalm of Asaph, and it's the judgment, tenfold work of the judgment of God. God is on the scene. He is our continual judge. He is always here. He hears every word that you speak. He knows whether it's from the heart or not. And because of that, he's talking to everybody in Psalm 50. He said, the mighty God, even the Lord has spoken and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Our God shall come and shall not keep silent. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very temperatures round about him. He shall call to the heavens from above, and the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, thus that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. All of those who have made a covenant, have you said, Lord Jesus, I am a sinner. Forgive me of my sin. Come into my heart and save my soul. If you've done that, you are one of his children. Now have you got baptized? Right now I'm not a preacher. Dip you in the water and baptize you. Second commandment after salvation. And then clean up. Have you cleaned up? Have you cleaned your mouth up? Have you cleaned your life up? I've been studying this psalm for 2 days, 3 days. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of Bible out here that are the King James Version. Yet every one of them have side notes that take you here and there, here and there, here and there. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself. Selah. That means stop. Think about it. The God of heaven is the judge. He knows every thought, every inner thought. He knows every word you speak. He knows the intent of your heart. He knows you. We have a 14-fold reproof of Israel and commands. Now remember, the beginning of this psalm, he summons the world to listen to him. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he goats out of thy fold. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountain, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? And then that's the end of verse 13. Now God and man's part is answered here in this very prayer. And he said, offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. That last statement, and thou shalt glorify me. He's writing this psalm because people are speaking hollow words. They're speaking words to God. They're sacrificing to God, but their heart is not in it. They are showing an outward thing. So people would see them, for instance, if you were born again, a Christian, they would see that you go to church. They would see that you do some things properly. But the things that you do improperly take away from the things you do properly. This is what God is saying here. So he's going to reprove them and also call them wicked. But unto the wicked God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hast instruction, and cast my words behind thee? He's saying, you read my Bible, but you don't follow it. You cast it behind you. Verse 18, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and hast been partaker with the adulterers. In other words, you didn't condemn the thief. He had so much, and he said, hey, here's $10. You said, thank you, and take the $10 that you knew that the man was a thief and had stole somewhere. You partaker of his thievery. Thus give thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue from deceit. Thou sittest and makest against thy brother, thou slatest thine own mother's son. Those things hast thou done, and I kept silent. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be no deliverer. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that uttereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God. He's saying, if you say that you're saved, and you haven't changed your conversation, if you haven't done turned over opposite from what you were, he said, you fraternize with adulterers. You fraternize with adulteresses. You run with people you know are thieves, are heathens. You can't win that person to the Lord because you look somewhat like him. And he has no respect for you as far as your salvation goes. You tell him one thing, and he sees another thing, because you live opposite from what you say. You say one thing with your mouth, but your countenance and the way you are is mercy. Now look at from verse 21 here. He said, have mercy on me, verse 1. There's 21 requests that David has to God. Have mercy upon me according to your loving kindness. We do not have the ability to have the loving kindness of God without accepting Him into our heart and giving ourselves to Him daily, minute by minute, hour by hour. Have mercy upon me according to your loving kindness. If we got mercy on Him the way we give mercy, we would be most of all people in trouble. Have mercy upon me according to your tender mercy. He's saying, hey, I haven't earned it. I see that I haven't earned it. I see that I'm in trouble. Verse 4, blot out my transgression. That was from verse 1. That's the fourth thing. Blot out my transgression. The preacher said in prayer meeting the other night, walk circumspectly unto God. He is on the scene. 24/7s. He is on the scene. 24/7s. Cleanse me from my sin. Verse 2. Purge me with hyssop. Wash me. Verse 7. In verse 8 he's saying, make me to hear joy and gladness. Hide your face from my sins. The sins he's talking about here are the sins of the heart. That you are not following with your heart properly. And because you're not following properly with your heart, your body is not following properly. You can stand in a group of people who are thieves, robbers, alcoholics, whoremongers, and everything else, and you haven't opened your mouth. You haven't declared who you are. You haven't declared that you are God's child. And they look at you and they don't know. They say, well, you're idle. You've hid your face from sins in your idol. You're idle in your mouth and you're idle in your mind. Blot out all my iniquities, he say in verse 9. That's only going to happen when he starts proclaiming God in the public. When he starts proclaiming God to those who call him friend, yet they live for the devil. And he's so close to them, they can't see that he's even saved. Stand your ground. Jesus actually, except for his 12 apostles, stood alone. And at one time, even his apostles scattered. When he was on the cross, he stood alone on the cross. He had one disciple down there at the feet of the cross, John. He said, John, behold thy mother. Mother, behold thy son. Where are the other 11? They are scattered abroad. They hadn't yet come to the place that John had come to, at the foot of the cross. Clean enough so God would say, I trust you with my mother, John. I trust you as the man who is going to follow all the way through with no downfall. And he said that to him. He said, make me to hear joy and gladness. There was one out of 12 that made him hear joy and gladness. It was John. Hide your face from my sins. Blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a new clean heart. Renew a right spirit within me, verse 9. Cast me not away from your presence. Verse 15. Take not your Holy Spirit from me. Verse 11 of 1 Samuel. Restore unto me the joy of your salvation. He's saying here, he is talking to people who have been converted, who are his children. Of course, this is Old Testament writing, but it has a New Testament connotation to those of us who have been saved. Uphold me with your free spirit. Deliver me from blood guiltness. Wow. Verse 18. What is he saying? If you kept your mouth shut, you're standing, you're in a bus. You go and you sit down in a seat. Do you witness to the man beside you? Do you even carry something with you at all times that says something about God? And even if you don't, does that man know that you're different sitting beside him? Or do you appear just like him, the same? Do you keep your mouth shut? Or do you say, sir, if you died right now, would you go to heaven? And he is going to say, huh? What'd you say? I say, sir, if you died right now, would you go to heaven? No, nobody can know that. Sir, yes, they can. It's in Jesus Christ. If you ask him to forgive you of your sin, come into your heart and save your soul, and then give your testimony. Have you got a testimony? Have you got a testimony? That is your witness. The witness from the Holy Spirit from you is your testimony. The Lord allowed me yesterday to give my testimony directly to a man who is not a church-going man. Is he a good man as far as the world's concerned? Is he a clean man? Yes. Does he do an honest business? Yes. But does he have Christ in his heart? No. Why doesn't he? Somebody hasn't told him. Somebody has to tell you. You don't just jump up and find God. You or I who are saved. Now what God did right here in this judgment, in chapter 50, God summoned the whole world of his people. All the people in the whole known world, his people. In chapter 50, he summoned them to attention. He said, I want your undivided attention. He said, you look like you are mine. You are sacrificing. I gave you a command. You bring the best out of your flock, with no blemish, with no scars, the perfect one, the best one you've got. You bring it up here to me, and you sacrifice it to me, and I will accept it. And they had got to where they were bringing the runts. They were bringing those with bad markings. They were bringing the sick. They were bringing all kinds of animals to God and sacrificing them that wouldn't meet the qualification. And God said, I'm sick of that. I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. You haven't done what I told you to do. I told you to bring the best. He goes on to say in Psalm 50 that he owns all of the animals, every one of them, all of them in the world. He said, I know every bird in the world. I know every bird. And he didn't say it right here. But what he did say before is, I know every hair on your head. Every single hair on your head is numbered, and I know the number. I'm God. I am infinite. Do you think that you can say that you're a saved person and you can run with the world and the world doesn't even know you're a saved person? Where is your witness? Where is your witness? Do you have a witness? Listen to what God said. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings that have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thine house, nor he goat out of thine fold. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is not mine, and the fullness thereof. I will eat the flesh of bulls, or I will eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats. Offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vow unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. Let me tell you this. Let's go back up to verse 4. He shall call to the heavens from above, and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Let's take a look here. But unto the wicked, God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hast instruction, and castest my words behind thee? When thou sawest a thief, then thou considered with him, and hast been partaker with his adulteries and adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue formeth deceit. Thou sittest or speakest against thy brother. Thou hast slain dearest things, one mother's son, thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done. I kept silent, though thou wast that I was altogether such an one as thyself. But I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that offereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God. Does your conversation say that you are God's child? Do you entertain somebody telling a dirty joke? Do you laugh at things that are a derision against God? Do you watch things that are a derision to God? Are you fraternizing with those who are in derision with God? Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces. Whosoever offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright, will I show the salvation of God. You must order your conversation from God. You must say, Lord, help me today. Help me today in my conversation. Help me today, Lord. What is your conversation? That's your manner of life. That's every single solitary thing you do from the time you wake up in the morning until you go to bed at night. And as a matter of fact, it is your conversation when you go to bed at night. Do you thank the Lord for the air you're breathing? Do you thank the Lord for the comfort of the bed? Do you ask the Lord to give you some earnest and quick sleep? And so that you can get up, get His Word out, and get in His Word. Or do you get up in the middle of the night and take a pill so you can sleep the rest of the night? If you have enough peace in God, you may sleep the rest of the night without a pill, or you can get up and get in His Word. It is now 4:15. I've been in His book since 3 o'clock sharp, and trying to find out what He would have me say. And first I had to find out what He said to me. What did He say to you, Peter? He said your conversation yesterday was a little bit on the iniquity side, because you were talking and speaking about separating yourself from a brother who had fallen away and got into sin and got on the outside realm of God. And He said, I, God, am the one who's forgiven sin. I, God, am the one who has forgiven your brother. Therefore, you do not have a right to hold your brother in contempt. Because if I, God, look at you, Peter, which is me, holy, look at you, you had sinned yesterday by speaking evil of your brother, by saying, I have no faith in him anymore. If your faith is in the flesh of him, it's no good anyway. If he's God's child and he has made a mistake and God forgave him, where is my right to condemn him? Where is my right to condemn him? I have no right to condemn him. Therefore, I need to put away out of my everyday mind, my everyday being, and say, Lord, help me to pray for him and forget him. And you're going to take care of him, and you're going to do what you do with him. And don't let this trouble my mind. Why is it in my mind? I don't have enough of God in my mind to let other things crowd out what God I do have in my mind, what God I do have in my heart. I've got to not let other things crowd him out. True Christianity is speaking that which is in your heart. True Christianity is speaking that which is in your heart. God was the example. Jesus Christ himself was the example to 12 fellows. He took those 12 and walked across this earth. He went hungry for the gospel's sake, for his Father. He went destitute in the sense of the word. Same clothes every day. Had to stop by a creek and wash his robe, wash his clothes, and dry them and put them back on. And he didn't carry a bundle of clothes. He didn't carry the things of the world with him. That was not his interest. John the Baptist came out of the wilderness with one piece of clothing on. A piece of clothing of a camel's hair girdle made where he could pull it up over his extreme parts and hang a piece of it over his shoulder to hold it up so that he wouldn't be standing there completely naked. His concern was not about the things of the world, piling up the things of the world. His concern was baptizing for Jesus Christ, for God, and baptizing people. Our concern should be bringing people in. Until we get ourselves right, we'll never be any good to those outside. So let's get ourselves right. Well, our time has come and gone, and we will see you next time. Right, Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word.